On the women's number 1 from Canada, Chloe Earl. And on men's number 1 from Mexico, Emmanuel Estrada de Artola. You guys can probably see a bunch of judges and officials in your view. I want to give a big thanks to of course, to all of the volunteers that signed up to do this in their own spare time, but also to the volunteer crew that is running the international technical team of Canada. Paul Leday is the jury president today. From Ecuador, Cosmo Maya is the technical delegate. From the United States, our IFSC official is Bruce Mitchell. We have an assistant technical delegate from Canada in Sebastian Powell. The technical coordinator for the event is Eric Lachance. And running the chrono system, those are our timers. And also an attending IFSC official is Babak Zia. So thank you guys for taking care of everything and supervising and training the judges, managing the timers, which is more of a headache than some people may expect. Everything is running smooth, and it's all thanks to those people. And of course, the route setters for today. The chief setter for the boulders is Simon Parton, and his assistant chief is Antonio Moya from Argentina. Chris Danielson is the setting coordinator and expert counselor, acting as a resource for the setting crew. Some of the other setters with work this weekend include Brett Johnson from the United States, who will be leading the difficulty setting team, and his assistant from Chile, Christian Carreras, along with many national level setters in Selena Wong, Laura Matthew, Jairo Bogota, Nick Oklobzia, sorry Nick, Andrew McBurney, Oscar Lanzagorza, Juan Martin Miranda, Caleb Thomas, Kyle McCabe, and Martel Magnon. Thank you to all of those guys for the many days of work they put in before the event. And of course, it doesn't stop then. They are working every single day, putting up and taking down problems, and of course, watching every climber to get an idea of how they need to tweak problems for future rounds. So they've still got 6.5 more hard days of work. We really appreciate all the time that every single one of them put in. And we're so glad it's a multinational crew. The officials for the event include people from 8 different countries: Canada, Brazil, Colombia, Chile, the United States, Argentina, France, and Scotland. And we managed to reach relative gender equity with a total of 7 women and 9 men, something that the event's very proud of.
There you go.
Zachary Matthew on men's number 4, giving us our first taste of that problem, and getting high as well. If he can control this awkward finish hold, we'll see our first top for Zachary. Excellent work from Zach. And Kat Karkner giving us our first view of women's number 4, featuring a volume arrangement that's carried over from the B category, just with some minor changes.
Oh, nice save over on number 3. Very good, Valentina. Come on now, push, push. Yeah, come on. Oh. One minute.
And that's 1 minute left, about 45 seconds now.
Nice work, Kat. Come on, Yanito.
If you're looking for scores, because of course I can't keep track of every single climber, make sure you visit ifsc-climbing.org. Click on the link for the calendar, which may be under the competition tab if I remember correctly. Scroll down until you find the Pan Am Championships, and you can select your category. So in this case, either male A boulder or female A boulder. And you'll be able to see the scores as they come in directly from the station judges. Those scores aren't official, and every once in a while you get something misentered, so If something looks wrong, don't worry. We've got an incredible team of professional judges with lots of international experience. Sometimes just between the iPads they hold, the internet connection, and the infrastructure on the IFSC end, sometimes things don't translate completely. So if there are any issues, I'm sure the judges will take care of it. But for the most part, those results are nice and accurate. Our new climbers out on men's number 1 from the United States is Stefan Fellner. And also from the United States on women's number 1 is Isabel Barrientos. Yinky Ying on women's number 2. Looks like she's about to flash with a top. You got one hand and a second. That's a great flash for Yinky. And Isabel Barrientos also securing a flash on women's number 1. The newest climbers on your screen on men's 2 is Francisco Gonzalez from Chile. And for the girls from the United States, Isabella Noyak. Women's number 3. Unfortunately, from my angle, I don't get to watch the start, but I get to see it on video. Looks like a ton of fun. Trying to get 4 points on that starting talon. Leaning your back into the wall behind you for support. And then from there, trying to come out through some very, very tiny crimps to get you around that corner to the sloper, which then hopefully you'll be able to mantle completely, get a foot up on that thing, stand up, and reach the top. And Stefan Fellner just had an excellent attempt on men's number 1, effectively reaching the top, but his fingers just popping off, so he secured bonus at the very least. If you guys are in Montreal this week, of course you can always come down to spectate, especially consider on Wednesday when we've got the bouldering finals for all 3 categories. Make sure you come out for that one. If not, consider coming by in the evening. We've got some of the climbs, some of the boulders in the speed wall open for the public to mess around on, try and see what it's like to be a competitor at this level. The boulders will be the junior boulders, which are these ones, I believe, unless they're going to be tweaked. But you can come by tonight between 7:30 and 9:30, or Tuesday between 6:30 and 8:30, or Wednesday between 8:30 and 10:30. And those walls will be open for you to try. You can try a speed wall, maybe for the first time in your life, or you can hop on the junior boulders and just see how tiny these crimps are that I'm talking about, or how impossible some of these slopers are. If you want more information about that, you can always go to the website for this event. It's climbingpanam17.com, where you can also find a way to donate to the crowdfunder, a place to, of course, find the live stream that you're watching right now, and a lot of other information about the event, and also just visiting Montreal, which this year turned 375, one of Canada's great cities. If you get a chance to come out here, check out the Tourism Montreal website, find some stuff to do, and of course, check out all of Montreal's grade A gyms, including, of course, Horizon Rock, our host today. Out on Rue Dixon in the west part of the city, right around the corner from Montreal's Olympic Stadium, which is also an incredible sightseeing destination. You can get a chance to go up into the tower that stands over the stadium. You can get a beautiful view of the surrounding city and the river and Mount Royal. Montreal is worth the trip for sure. That is time. We're going to bring out some new climbers.
From Brazil, Climbingpanam17.
On men's number 1, our first Brazilian climber for the day, Felipe Hamdar.
Welcome. Manuel on 2.
And for the ladies, from Argentina,
Paolo on 3.
Ana Luz Torres.
Jacinto on 4. And Zachary Mathieu is going to show us.
And again, if you guys have any questions about the problems, about how the competition works, about how the Olympics work,
Looking at number 4.
just shoot me a tweet at Plastic Weekly. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the official event Twitters. You guys should make sure you follow Access Escalade on Twitter. They are a huge part of running this event. Make sure you give them a follow. You can also find them on Facebook at Access Escalade Montreal or Instagram at Access Escalade Montreal as well. And of course, we got Facebook pages and Facebook events for this entire event. So take a look at the Facebook page for Access Escalade Montreal. There's also an event for the Championnat Panaméricain. You can find that linked on the page. Or just the Facebook page for the Climbing Pan Am. Give them all a like. Your engagement shows the sponsors that there's an audience worth advertising to, and that's something that's really important for climbing here. Chloe Earl on women's number 2. Putting in work. Bonus is secured, but unfortunately having to let go right before the top. And we get our second top on men's number 4. That was Jacinto Velasco Lozano on men's number 4, securing another confident top. As we watch lots of work being done. On men's 2, women's 3, men's 3. And of course, we still have climbers on men's 1 and women's 1. And women's 2, just out of the shot. They're all currently taking a breather. And problem number 5, Zachary Matthew and Catherine Karkner. They're our first climbers that came out today, so this is their last chance to make an impact on the scoreboard. Cat with a burly volume climb, coming up a series of ledges and trying to end up on a slopey crimp finish rail. And Zachary getting out of the volume section with some relatively stable crimps and entering into the dead zone of sheer crimps. An exposed slab. Trying to work his way up, and always the hard part of these is finding a way to get some confidence in your feet to help you get higher. It's easy to stand on the big stuff, but you got to find that way to commit to the little feet and get yourself out of there. And we'll see if Zachary can finish that up with 1:10 left on the clock.
One minute. One more try, Zach. Your last boulder. 30 seconds.
And of course, a shout out to Pete Woods from Alberta. He's rocking the mic down on the floor, keeping people informed and engaged.
Nice.
The dude's a monster. He's going to be here all 7 days, rocking the mic. And especially when we get to finals, I'm sure you'll be able to hear him from our microphones, getting loud and taking the crowd with him. Your next climbers up from the United States on men's number 1 is Ross Fulkerson. And on women's number 1 from Canada, Madison Fisher. Isabella Barrientos making women's number 2 look like a ladder right now. She's got bonus for sure. Just one move away from the top. We'll see if she can lock it down. One hand on it. And that's your second hand. Isabella Barrientos gets women's number 2. Madison Fisher, again, looking good in this position like a lot of the girls in the past, where bonus is a pretty easy way to get to, but firing yourself up to match up on the finish is hard, and they give it to her. That's a top on women's number 1 for Madison Fisher. Ross Fulkerson also getting high on men's 1. One hand on the finish.
Nice job.
And he gets the top as well. Good start to this round. We still have 3 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock.
All right, Zach. Venga, venga, venga. Body's flying everywhere. You're going to bouldering top when? Oh, Zach.
Zach Richardson managing to reach some of the later holds on men's number 5, but not sure if you're going to be able to get away with the kind of dynamic moves he's attempting on these holds. Nikolai Rivadiniera on men's number 4. Making the bottom part look easy, just having trouble getting to the hold right before top. Maybe moving a bit too dynamic for how small that crimp is. Hopefully you can figure something out. We have 1 minute and 18 seconds left on the clock. That's 1 minute remaining.
Here we go, Zach. Yes,
lots of climbers really giving a solid burn on their final attempt. And Nikolai manages to get that second last hold. 30 seconds left, manages to get the top. After so many attempts, that's great for Nikolai.
All right, Isa. Clock's ticking, girl. Come on, Isa. That's all right.
Folks getting loud for Isabella Nowak in the crowd behind me. You can see a few people on your monitor. Of course, we got lots of people down on the floor in front of the boulders, but up in the mezzanine, lots of loud fans as well supporting their countrymen. We still have lots of space for you, though, so if you're around and you want to come cheer on the crowd and see what's going on, come on down to Horizon Rock, one of the gyms you got to see in Canada. And, of course, what a better time to see it than when it's full of the continent's best climbers. Our new climbers out on men's number 1 from Canada, Aiden Doyle. And for the women from Ecuador, Alexandra Mena. Some excellent looking climbing up on men's and women's 4.
Good job, Isabella.
Gallo Hernandez manages to secure the top, followed immediately after. By Arabella Jeriel of the United States. Sorry, I got a lot of names I got to look through. If I'm slow, that's why. And Valentina Aguado, one of the top climbers in the world in her category, manages a really quick top on women's number 5, looking very strong. Alexandra on women's 1, still working away, trying to get the finish. Aiden Doyle on men's 1. Haven't gotten to see too much, but he's currently just working on the start position, which, as we mentioned earlier, is definitely one of the harder starts of the comp. Men's 1 and women's 2 are entirely composed of footholds that really fit no more than 2 fingers each. And you can see the climbers trying to crimp them. They're basically getting their 2 middle fingers over the holds and pinching it with their index and their pinky fingers to get as much grip as you can. And women's 1, ultimately a set of big slopers and a 45-degree cave. Once you hit the bonus, you're pulling onto the head wall, reaching up to a giant font sloper with really nowhere to grab. And trying to lock it down, keeping your feet low to keep that center of gravity in the wall. So tough problems right off the bat. Got a minute 45 left on the clock for our current set of climbers. Jacinto on men's number 5. Again, might be one of the most trying pieces of climbing this round, coming through all of these problems, ending up on genuine slab with a relatively easy start and forcing you to confront all of your fears and all of your foot insecurities as you try and get up to a tantalizing slope or above. It's the kind of thing you just want to dyno to, but you can't. And with less than 1 minute left, we're still waiting. Hopefully Ana Luis Torres on women's 2 can make some progress, but she, along with Aiden Doyle on men's 1 and Alexandra Mena on women's 1, having a lot of trouble at the start for these climbers. 30 seconds left, but lots of climbs to go. We'll see what they can do in their final attempts, but after that they may just have to focus on what's coming up next. Aiden Doyle getting so close to the top on his last attempt on men's 1, but unfortunately just can't get his hands on it. The crimps hurt too much, or at least they would for me.
All right.
But excellent work from those climbers as they move on to their next climbs.
King from the US of A. And Julia Bunko from Canada. Madison on 2, then Isabel Yinky.
Two North American climbers up now on men's and women's 1. From Canada, Julia Bunko on women's number 1.
Because it's just a good name. Stephen Fellner, Francisco.
And from the United States on men's number 1, Griffin Barrows King.
Mr. Ross.
Ross Fulkerson is now the guy you can see on M2. And Madison Fisher on the women's 2, making short work of women's number 2. That's a top for her. Yinky Ying getting high up on problem number 4.
Nice job.
Nikolai over on problem number 5, entering the danger zone of the 5th problem. But he's being proactive and trying to use those feet. But still just not enough. It's not a friendly problem. I am excited to see what kind of person it takes to get a top on that, though. Here's hoping. We got lots of strong climbers to come. Francisco Gonzalez on men's number 4, taking a second to think about this climb. It's definitely one of the climbs with the friendlier starts, but as you get gripping onto the second volume area, it quickly becomes discouraging as you feel really out of balance and feel like you don't have much to step on. Yinky Ying on women's number 4, which again feels like a relatively easy start. You can really lay back into that feature, but as you go up, you also got to bring your feet with you, and that becomes tough as the foot positions are so tight into where your hands are. It becomes very easy to barn door out around the corner and off the wall.
Come on, Julia. Let's go, Griffin.
Griffin Barrows King eyeing down the second last hold on men's number 1 with a loud cheering crew. Unfortunately, his left hand pops off that second last hold. These are exactly the kind of holds that just kick your fingers right off. I took some pictures if you want to see what those problems look like. That's women's 1, women's 2, and men's 1. Check out my Twitter at Plastic Weekly. Unfortunately, I can't get on the official ones. But check out at Plastic Weekly. You'll see a couple pictures of those problems so you can imagine what the climbs look like. And of course, feel free to ask any questions. While you're on Twitter, make sure you give a shout out to Accès Escalade Montreal. They're the people behind running this entire event, making it all happen, coordinating the endless volunteers and officials and judges, coaches and athletes from around North, Central, and Southern America to get together for this event. Fire up that hashtag, Accès Escalade Montreal, to let them know you're paying attention out in the crowd.
1 minute. Come on, Nikki. Come on, Francisco. Hang on.
We've only got 45 seconds left in this round. Griffin Barrows King giving signals that he's optimistic about this last attempt he's going to take. Looking psyched up. As you may have heard P. Wood say, we're down to 30 seconds. Julia Bunko still working on one. But Julia and Griffin fortunately come off with 20 seconds left. Griffin's going to get back on. See how quickly he can climb this crimp ladder. 8 seconds left. Griffin's still on the wall. Second last holds. Kind of pumps off for the finish. Manages to get his hand on it, but not enough to secure a top. Excellent work.